Hey, I watched all the videos. Sharon Covert, Ramsey, Corey, if I pronounce that correctly, Michael Prayer, and Leo Overtomb, Ben's Folds. They were all great videos. They all had a great wealth of information. Everyone had same idea within those, which was pretty much manners. Manners is the gateway to everyone. If you're a dick to everyone, you probably will not get far in the music industry whatsoever. Uh, that's them saying that just straight up. But the three videos I focused on was Sharon Covert, Michael Prayer, and Leo Overtomb, and Ben Folds. Starting with Ben Folds, he says all great artists have a way of distributing. All great artists basically need to just focus on the music, focus on their great ideas, and don't worry about the distribution. He said Scott Joplin, Bach, Frank Zappa all had that same thing in common. They just focused on their great idea and let someone else worry about getting the music out. They just wanted to focus on the great idea and make it as best as they possibly could. Then Ben went on to talk about the middleman. Middleman has been eliminated, which has done a few things. It's eliminated filters. There's a lot of people that can just create a video and throw it online, kind of like I'm doing right now, and create a whole bunch of different music that way. It's a good thing and a bad thing. It floods the market, but at the same time, it gets a whole bunch of different creativity out there that we can see and use and collaborate with other people. What else? The middleman eliminated the need for trying to get out mass promotions like contests for like back in the 90s where we didn't have Facebook. Now you can just send a tweet and say like, hey, if you guys have any acoustic versions of my song, please do it, and you'll just get an array of videos sent straight to you. Next, he talked about like how his team was formed and how long it took a long time for him to form his team and his idea for it. Basically lets everyone have their free idea. He says that you want to have someone that cares about your music as much as you do, but you don't want them to own what you're working on, like saying they created what you're working on. Otherwise, that whole entire idea is just not going to work. They're not. You won't get it along. But you want them to care a lot. Ben asked about was asked about singer-songwriters, and this was great. I love this because I have a hard time with this, which is focus on the music, nothing else. Don't worry about the melody or a great line, which is what I do. I focus on like, oh, what is this melody not busy enough, or is this line just too cliche, or is it too corny? You just gotta get it out. And if you have a shit line and a shit melody, you can still have a great song. It's all about the idea that you're just trying to create. And he was also talking about pushing yourself out of your comfort zone, which was wonderful. And then he went on to talk about manners. Manners is one of the most important things about the industry, which I totally agree. You have to be nice to everything. Etiquette is good. Then we went on to Michael Pryor and Leo Overton. Let's see how am I doing on time. Yay. Michael Pryor, Leo Overton. Most of their training was informal from what they said. They had one book that they were working on, which was Home Recording for Musicians. Michael was talking about that, and he said that he learned 80% of what he knows from that. Before then, they were with kids and just playing with tape recorders and just seeing what kind of sounds that they create with these tape recorders. Then he also said one must keep up with new technology. Said it moves kind of slowly, which I kind of disagree with. It's always changing. I mean, we have new things coming out left and right. We're now dealing with streaming that came from MP3s, which came from CDs, which came from tapes, which came from 4-track and LPs and piano rolls. And so, that's a lot of different forms of music within a short period of time. So, we always have to keep up with that. But anyways, he's saying he loves the new technology that's come out. He loves computers and digital audio, digital working boards, mixing boards. Basically because it really takes care of 80% of the work. And that has really opened doors for getting sounds and making the acoustic space as vibrant as possible. Yeah, pretty much. Next big thing that they were talking about for distribution was, before we go back, well, they were saying with analog, everything had to be, you had to do everything from scratch every day, and a digital mixing board took care of 80% of that, because you can go to the computer and the computer will say what's working and what's not working. You still have to go and set up everything, make sure the microphones are pointed at the correct spots, and that you can't take out the human element. The human element is more important because you're dealing with more sound and more power than we ever had before, which could really hurt a lot of different people in like sound waves in the ears, hurt their ears. Hearing loss sucks. I know. Next big thing is going to be distribution, or how the sound will get to the speakers. Basically, they're thinking wireless is going to be the next big thing. They're not going to have 100 pounds of copper sitting up on a roof with the hanging speakers anymore. Someone will eventually figure out, just to put the sound left and right with a different form of getting sound out. Different, yeah, he was talking about no more cables, really. That's about it. And that was a ramble. Let's see here. And they also go on about how they got into the industry and such like that. But I think that was great information on how they were just getting out there and like really just throwing themselves out into the community and trying to make the community better with themselves. But I think Sharon Covert had a lot of good ideas. Her first one was to listen to other ideas because you don't know where they could lead. Basically, what she was saying is like, one idea might not be a perfect idea, but you have a part to make that idea whole, so you can actually go out there and create a tour or create some money off of that. You just don't know where some crazy ideas might lead, like say for instance golf tours. She went on to talk about digital technology and where she thought she came from. She had this interesting story about an Avril Lavigne record being sent from Denmark, and how that was just like a whole entire jumble, in which kind of started to create the community of producers talking to each other, talking to Pro Tools, and making Pro Tools an industry standard thing. And then how Pro Tools kind of went down to a downward spiral thing where kids were learning about this stuff and then getting hired for a third of the price that the original engineers were getting paid, and they were using the tricks of the trade and just cutting out the middleman, which is a bad thing. Then she went on to say that the digital people, or digital age, kind of created lazy people and people who would get overwhelmed with all the information that could take. Basically, digital created lazy people by saying, "Oh, I can take care of that later," or "I can do this later." And she went and talked a bit about community. She said, "We're all in this together," which she's right. We have to get into tribes more. We have to get away from individual works. Don't isolate yourself. Get out there, find people that have the same interests as you. She also went on to talking about really having a strong work ethic. She got this from her dad. You always have something to contribute if you know a little bit about everything. Basically, what her dad was saying, and it's also hard to be taken advantage when you're informed. So she went out there and she did it. She got a lot of different things, and that's kind of what we need to do in this age. We still need to get out there and do things. We need to create our own opportunities more often, rather than just depending on what will come out and what we might be able to get. We have to go out there and just like work it and follow what people were doing before, but not really. I'm rambling on this, but just basically going out there and tackling the situation that we have right now. Anyways, that's my ramble for 10 minutes.